So, hello friends, I am Jatin Agarwal. I hope you are enjoying this stipend to salary series. I am regularly uploading the videos and sending you the answers via mails. So please stay connected and subscribe to my channel and like the videos. It will motivate me for the coming videos, right? So first question, like today we are going to discuss case study questions. We'll cover it in two parts. This is case study question first part and second question. Second part I will upload later on and which will cover case study questions from top FMCG companies, right? So, so starting with the first question, they ask question regarding the audit planning and team assignment. Let's suppose you are head of audit, you are heading people of 10 and you have been located to start the audit of a particular company. So what would be your approach? They want to see that whether you have practically done the audit or not, and what's your perspective for doing the work with a team and handling the team, right? So answer can be like this, that firstly, sir, we have to start with the pre-audit planning. We have to understand the scope and objectives. Then we have to gather the background informations like previous year financials and annual reports, audit reports, and what are the industry standards, applicable laws and regulations. Then we have to do a risk assessment that whether the audit is acceptable or not as per firm's internal policies, right? Now we'll move forward for preparation of audit strategy and audit plan, that how will we cover these outlines of audit and how we'll move forward, right? Next would be like we'll meet with a team and to discuss the audit plan and to assign the roles. So how these roles would be assigned, like based on the materiality and risk assessment, we'll identify the areas. These areas would be like cash and bank reconciliations, accounts receivables, revenue items, inventories, your COGS, fixed assets, accounts payables, payrolls, and financial reporting. That financial reporting and checking its compliance. Now, like I've plotted, sir, that in this work I'll allocate one of my team member. In this, I will allocate two of my team members. So like this, you can allocate. Then, as your team assignment is done, now next step is execution of audit. So in that, like we'll start with the kickoff meeting, that let's start the work, and firstly we'll ensure these compliances and on the priority basis, and then the actual field work, that we'll visit the client place and start the work from there. And after doing the some workings, we'll conduct a review, right? Because I am a team leader at that point, so I'll conduct a review. Now next point would be like I will communicate with my team regarding status update, that I would follow up with them, that what work they have done, are they following the same procedures which I prescribed, and what's the new point in that. So I'll brief the team about that. Now I will handle the issues which they have identified during the audit, and second one, I would also resolve those issues, and I'll discuss the management to resolve those issues, and I'll send my recommendations to them that they can move forward like this way. Now next point would be, as my team has summed up the work, next I would do the reporting work. So me and my team would draft an audit report. We'll review all the reports as well as the documentation portion, and we'll conduct an exit meeting with the client as well and with my team as well, right? And like this, we have done the audit, we'll finalize and we'll issue audit report, and then finally after issuing the audit report, we'll conduct a follow-up meetings, so that we'll monitor what action plan or actions have been taken by the entity and on our observations, right? So this would, like this, you can answer these types of case study questions. Your approach should be this, and your answers may be different, but your approach should be in pointers. That, sir, you can ask from the interviewer, if you have been asked a case study question, that, sir, can I take a minute to prepare for this answer? So it will work for you. Suppose they have asked a sudden question and you have not been exposed to these types of questions, then you can ask the interviewer to for a minute to prepare for that answer, right? So it would definitely work for you. Now, like next point would be Next question is relating to fraud discovery and managerial design. So what is this fraud discovery? Suppose that you are auditing a company and you have discovered a fraud, but your manager denied you that please do not inform this fraud to the partner. So they've asked a conditional question that what will you do at this point of time? So it's based on your mind. They are testing your mind that what your thought process regarding this. So like I mentioned the answer of this question, like I'll first I'll document my findings, which the manager is denying me to tell to the partner, right? I'll make a detailed documentation for the same, and I will preserve the evidence. Now, my next step would be to understand the professional and legal obligation. I'll understand that what is the non-compliance here, and which code of ethics or which principles the client is not following. Next point would be I'll escalate the point internally itself. Firstly, to the manager, that sir, what's your perspective that you are not letting this point to escalate to the partner? If you are convinced, then okay, and if law is followed, then okay. But if it is not the case, then you can escalate internally with higher level people, right? You can escalate, and then your point should be like I'll seek external guidance from any professional body, and in keeping in mind the confidentiality, because I am supposed to keep the confidentiality of the client in this case. So please keep that point also. And then I'll can whistleblow if there is a channel of whistleblowing. So I'll whistleblow and inform the concerned person about what's happening actually in the organization. And if I am abide by any legal obligation, so I will provide that information as well to protect me and to follow the laws and regulations. And finally, as I have documented all the things and I have complied all the laws and regulations, so these would protect myself because I'm correct at this point of time. So these would be my course of action, right? So like this, you can answer these types of case study questions. Now, third question is like, suppose you are employed in our organization. A company is asking that you are employed in our organization and you realized a previously accepted accounting treatment is wrong. You realize that, but your manager disagrees, but you have evidence that it is wrong. Then what would you do in this scenario? You can answer this question similar to the previous one, right? So keep those points in mind and you can frame your answer. Now, next question is like they asked to analyze the high valuation of a company, but its profits are negative. Like they asked that suppose you are analyzing the financial statements of a company, which long-term profits are negative, means profits from long-term are negative, but it's at very high valuation. So they asked that what's the first point that came to your mind? Then you will say that it might be a startup, because startups are valued based on their revenue growth or other valuation models, but not based on the profit, right? So, and what points you can say? You can say like, sir, the points which came to my mind by seeing the high valuation and negative profits is that the entity might have growth potential and it have chances of a future profitability, because market is expecting its revenue to grow significantly, its profit to grow significantly in the near future or long-term future. That's why it carries a high valuation. Then entity's business model is very viable and it will gain a competitive advantage in the future. That might be the reason. Now coming to revenue growth and market share, that's its revenue might be increasing at a very fast pace compared to its competitors, or its market position and market share is increasing day by day, which will create a competitive advantage to it, right? It will create a monopoly for it. Then its cash flow, and like you can see that, sir, its cash flows are positive, like it's making losses, but its cash flows are positive. That might be the case. Or say that its company's burn rate as compared to its profit is not so high as compared to other startups or other companies. That might be the case. Then the company might have some intangible assets which it get patented, so it will reap benefits in the future, or it has spent a huge amount in R&D and innovations. This will give future profitability. And then the entity might enter some strategic alliances, or they are going to acquire some entities, some potential acquisitions might be there. So these can be the reasons. And based on these, like more points can be industry trends, peer comparison, and leadership positions. So these are the points which you can mention in answering these types of questions, right? Now, moving to next question, that suppose a company is earning good profits, yet it is operating negative cash flows. So what's your opinion in this? Right? Means it's having negative operating cash flows. So you'll say that you can say that the reason for the same could be like these, that it is earning profits but it is not able to realize its debtors, so that's why it might be the case. Then it has made significant advance payment to the suppliers, its inventory levels has built up, so it has not realized those production inventories. It is making higher and faster payments to suppliers as compared to the customer collections, means that data collection period and creditors payment period, that concept. And it is like timing difference is there in revenue recognition and actual cash receipts, and certain changes in working capital components. So these can be the reasons you can mention. Now, moving to the next question, and which is relating to identification of fraudulent financial reporting. This question says that suppose you have the financials of an entity in PDF form, like you are interviewing, you are getting interviewed for CP or some BSc NSC interviews, which regularly monitors the financials of the company. So they ask the questions like you are you have the financials of entity in PDF form and you suspect the fraudulent financial reporting. So they ask that tell me any 5 line items which will ask from the entity to identify that fraud. So our answers can be like this, that I'll ask the entity for a list of items capitalized during the year, because we'll check that whether the revenue items are charged to P&L, and whether capital items are not charged to P&L. So this we can charge. So similar point, like we can take the list of CWIP and additions to PP. And then next point would be, if entity has made huge investments in financial assets and it is unquoted, then we can request the entity for calculation of fair value calculation of those investments, that how they calculated, because fraudulent financial reporting might be there, that figures are not correct and calculations are not correct, valuations are not correct. Then we'll take the list of moving non-moving trade receivables, and along with the date from which it is standing in the books of accounts, and what's the management assessment of the recoverability, because the debts which got bad, they are still standing in the books of accounts, which creates a wrong financial reporting. Then methods of revenue recognition and any changes during the year. Then next point is like documents relating to contingent liability, because when these contingent liabilities are disclosed, it might be chance that they are not fully disclosing that the amount is not correct. And so these can be the documents which we can list of documents which we can get from entity to identify the fraudulent financial reporting. Some more points might be there, so please prepare on this. Now next question is like these points are similar to the earlier one. This question was asked like, which factors indicate chances of fraud in reporting by the entity. So this question was asked directly. So answer to the questions like there might be changes in accounting policies during the year, some ratios are adverse, sudden fall or rise in the profits of the company without any major event, or adverse cargo reporting, or they have not filed the returns to the statutory audit on time. Now the next question is like suppose you came across a situation where you have submitted the financial figures that have been published, right? But before the AGM, you got to know that these are the errors in that financials. So how would you deal with this situation? That's the question. Now, answer would be like, upon discovering the material errors, and the key actions can be as follows. Firstly, we need to issue an immediate notification and inform the senior management and relevant teams. Then we have to assess its materiality and impact in the financial statements. We have to collect the evidence. Then we have to take the corrective action plan for the same. That we have to prepare the revised financial statements. Then we have to communicate with our stakeholders before the AGM. We have to follow the regulatory compliance, file the revised financial with the SEBI. Then we have to update and prepare the EGM materials, and then any other preventive measures that we can take so that such type of errors will not occur in the future. So like this, you can answer these types of questions. Now, the next and final question is that if cash flows from the operating and investing activities is negative, like if you are analyzing a company in which cash flows from operating and investing is negative, but its financing is positive. So what does it depict? You will say that, sir, it might indicate that it's a startup company, because in that they burn the cash, and so their cash flows, operating cash flows are negative. They invest a lot in fixed assets or expansion. That's why their investing cash flows are negative, and they raise funds from debts, equities, any other modes. So their financing cash flows are positive. So this might be the case. So like this, you can answer this question, and you can also mention that negative cash flows indicate that a company is heavily investing in growth and future prospects, and is relying on the external funds. It might face sustainability challenges if operating cash flows do not improve in the future, and they need to manage and carefully manage its debt and equity financing to avoid the financial strain. So like these, you can answer these questions. And if you like this video, please click on the like button, do subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon. And please note that I'll share another video, and which will cover the second case study portion. And in the future videos, I would cover points on Ind AS, statutory audit questions, internal audit questions. So please stay connected with me. Thank you so much.